Hello YouTube fans, this is Gardening with Vincenzo, and we're in Vincenzo's kitchen. And today I'm going to share with you an original recipe for a gluten-free, low-carb pizza that is just fabulous. Now, it's taken me a while to create this, and I've tried several different methods, kind of a trial and error, and I think that what I have done here, not only with my special technique, but with my ingredients, will have you making this on a regular basis. Having celiac disease myself, I'm always looking for recipes and products that are not only gluten-free, but being diabetic on top of it, double cursed as it were. So we have to watch the carbs. And so today, even though I have two other recipes out there for pizza crusts, one of them being a totally flourless, and that's right on my YouTube channel, and the video is perhaps the world's first flourless pizza crust. So what I've got over here right now, which I'm going to pan over, is my list of ingredients. Now we've got some garlic powder, we have Italian seasoning, we have some Hunt's garlic herb sauce, we have some dehydrated onion, we have Parmesan and Romano mix, some Pam coconut oil, eggs, and as we pan down over here, which I'm doing manually off my tripod, there is some coconut flour. And this also will have flour in it, but it will turn out very nicely for you. I think you'll be very pleased. So here again, I'm sharing an original recipe for a pizza crust. And for those out there like myself that have celiac disease as well as diabetes, or just want to experience a gluten-free diet, this is a perfect recipe for you. I think that you'll love it. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pan down here so that you can see a little bit better my technique and my prep area. Let's see if I can't get this centered pretty decently. Okay, this is like a double baked pizza, but it's very unique. And before we get started, I just want to say that I hope that you enjoy this. I know that I have. It was like, wow, man, you know, this was definitely the thing to do as far as for pizza. You know, if anyone's bought those gluten-free pizza shells, they're loaded with carbs. You're lucky if you can eat one piece before you put a topping on it or sauce on it, and it's like eating, you know, cardboard. I mean, basically, you know, I'm reluctant to say that, but it's the truth. And anybody who has experienced that will know exactly what I'm talking about. So without further ado here, I've already preheated my oven, and my oven is on 410 degrees, a little bit over the edge on the 400. 400 is where I've gone to try this, and it's taken more than several attempts here until I finally figured out what the technique was. And what the technique will require 2 pizza pans, and I don't know whether you can see them or not. I'm going to pan over here. They're on my stove. They're well greased with the Pam coconut oil spray, and so that's key to this, is having the two pans, because it's a double bake, and you'll see what I mean as I go along here. Now this video is probably going to be a little longer because we have baking time, and it's a twice baked. So without further ado here, I'm going to get into this now. Let me grab my hat. Okay, here I am, YouTube fans. This is my new birthday hat for my son, and I've got a God Bless America pin on there that I had with a unique block party right here in Middlesex Township, Valencia, PA. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We have our 2 pizza pans right here. The oven's already on. Here's our coconut flour. And all these products can be bought right at either Giant Eagle, and I shop right at the local Gibsonia one, or the local Walmart also. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off And I always keep my coconut flour once it's opened in the refrigerator. We're going to start off with 1 cup of coconut flour. Coconut flour is gluten-free. There's many places you can get it for varying prices. I just happened to grab this one from the Walmart. That's pretty close to a cup right there. So we're going to put him in our mixing bowl. We've got a cup of coconut flour. I'm going to get him out of the road here because I have stuff spread everywhere. Put him back in the refrigerator. All right, to that coconut flour, the next big ingredient is Parmesan and Romano mixture. And what we're going to use is about 3/4 of a cup of the Parmesan Romano. We're going to add that right to our coconut flour. That's about 3/4 of a cup. Now we want to save some of that because when we're layering the flavor in, we're going to use this again. All right, now what we got is minced onion. And I'm going to put the minced onion right in the dry portion of our ingredients. I'm going to pop the top off. And it's about a tablespoon of the minced onion. So we've got a tablespoon of that. And again, we're going to leave him out because during our preparation of the toppings, we're going to do that. Now I have some garlic powder in there. As everybody knows, I just love garlic. And we're going to do about a 1/2 teaspoon. And again, we're going to leave him out because we're going to use him again. And for the black pepper, we're just going to give a couple shakes in there. I just happen to like fresh ground pepper. I just put it in this pepper. And we also have Italian seasoning, and we're going to use about a teaspoon of the Italian seasoning. And we also have, again, right from the local Giant Eagle right there in Gibsonia, we have some onion powder. And we're going to put some onion powder in this because we're layering the flavor from the bottom up. And we can put him back. The Italian seasoning we're going to use again. And so let me just stick him over here with my other items. And we're going to do just a pinch of basil. And I want a pinch of oregano leaves. Just a couple shakes there. There we go. And we also want to add some salt. Now, normally I don't add salt, but I'm going to add it into this crust. And I'd say a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. All right, now to the dry mixture, we also want to add some baking powder. And again, these ingredients can be gotten right from Giant Eagle. And to copy a line from CJ's Keto Kitchen, lovely Sarah, try to make that dollar holler. So we're going to use, that's probably close to a teaspoon of the baking powder. And we're also going to use, as soon as I snag it, some xanthan gum. And that's a binding agent. And you only need a little bit of it, so we're going to go with about 1/3 of a teaspoon there. So you've got all these wonderful dry ingredients in there mixed with the coconut flour. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take Oh, forgot one ingredient. I like bread that tastes like bread, so I'm going to add a little bit of yeast in here too. There we go. That's about maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of yeast. And this is the Fleischmann's instant yeast. It's one of the things that's lacking. I know you say yeast, you know, you need the yeast. It's not going to rise because there's no sugar. Well, I like the flavor. I want to, at least my taste buds want to know that I'm eating bread, even though this is a non-traditional bread here. So we're going to marry these flavors all together here. And there's some good things in here that will make this crust flavorful as well as the toppings, and still keep it not only gluten-free but diabetic friendly. All right, so here's the next thing. We have this right here. Got our bowl. Now, whenever you use coconut flour, you use up some eggs. So I have some farm fresh eggs here, right from the chickens. Nothing beats fresher than that. Remember what I said, you are what you eat, and fresh is always best. And fresh picked, can't get any fresher than that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 8 eggs to this. 8. All right, there's our 8 eggs. And we're going to take a little bit of garlic powder, which is right there. We're going to throw that in with the eggs. Like I said, I just love garlic, and this is a layering of the flavoring. So we're just going to beat them up real fast with a whisk. We've already mixed up our coconut flour with all the other ingredients. No, I'm not making French toast or scrambled eggs. So we're going to take our dry mixture, and now we're going to add those beaten 8 eggs in there. Now, coconut flour gets surprisingly stiff. You know, we'll mix this in here, and it'll be almost like cookie dough. And I'll show you what we have to do here in a minute. I'm going to mix this all up. Just with a fork is good. I like spinning the bowl when I'm mixing things. I do that all the time. And you'll see this will get relatively thickened up. So that's pretty thick. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add about a teaspoon of olive oil. That'll not only help it not stick, but it makes the dough a little more pliable. And after we mix that in, I'm going to add about 2 teaspoons of water. I double filter my water. I think a lot of the concerns that are out there as far as medical issues, I think it's because the water does not filter out medications that have been metabolized by other folks. It takes the particulates out, but the metabolized medications are in there. There's all kind of issues that are associated with consuming that. So my recommendation for everybody out there that has city water, although I'm a country boy, I would get a pure filter and put it right on the nozzle. They're easy to work with, easy to change, makes a world of difference. And I also have one on the main line coming in to the house from the well. Okay, so we've got our batter here, our pizza crust batter, and it's sticking together pretty good. Got a nice, pretty big ball there. I'm going to wet my fingers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and spread this out on the original pizza pan. And we want to leave it about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And it'll take a little bit of work in it till you get, you get the thickness relatively even. And again, you want this about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And after I get it 1/4 of an inch from the edge, I'll finish spreading it out here in the middle. Just using my fingers, a fingertip width from the edge. That's why it's well greased. If you just take your fingers, turning the pizza pan, you can get it pretty even so that you don't get that puffed up look in the center. Oh, that's an eggshell. Let's get rid of him. No, we don't want any eggshells in our pizza crust. Again, this is a layering of the flavoring, and this is an original recipe, and it's a unique technique. Here, that actually rhymes. Unique technique. Alright, that looks pretty good. Give me a rinse off here. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of garlic powder, and we're going to go on that. Oh, missed a step. We want to spray the top of the crust with the coconut spray. That'll help everything stick to it, and it'll also brown it up in the oven. And we want to take a little bit of our black pepper, stick him on there, and we also want to do a couple shakes of the Italian seasoning. You don't want to add cheese on this because we're going to flip this over and I don't want it to stick. Alright, so let's make sure our edges, you can get your finger all the way around there. Just kind of rub the rim with your finger. And as you can see, that's pretty uniform. I don't know where you can see that. Alrighty, so we're going to pop this in the oven. We're going to put them right on the top shelf. A little bit more than 400 degrees. I'm noting the time. We're going to take a look at him at about 10 minutes. And while that's going into 10 minutes, I'm going to clean up some of this stuff right here. I'm going to talk about my Facebook page, Gardening with Vincenzo, LLC. And what I'm going to ask, since this is a original recipe, and I believe that those that suffer with diabetes, and there's about 40 million people in America that suffer with diabetes. I know I have to take insulin every day. And I know those that have a gluten sensitivity or have celiac disease. I actually have the celiac disease. And the celiac disease is a very big health complicator because there's malabsorption for certain nutrients from the small villi of your intestine. Those are little finger-like projections where all the absorption takes place in your stomach, in your intestines. So those that have it have some issues. There's all kind of health issues that are associated with celiac disease. And some of that I cover in my soon-to-be released ebook, Picnic Table Farming, An Idea Whose Time Has Finally Arrived. And I have to do the table of contents on there, and it should be ready for production. I'm going to try to go Kindle, Amazon, and we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, back to my original point. Since this is an original recipe, trial and error, I really devoted some time to this. What I'd like to do is request that those folks who suffer from celiac disease, diabetes, if they think that this is worthwhile, and I think if you taste the pizza, I think you'll think this is worthwhile, especially if you haven't eaten pizza in a while. What I'd like for those folks to do, if they can find it in their heart, to supplement here, is to make a $1 donation on my GoFundMe page, which is on my Facebook. There's a link right there, GoFundMe. $1. That's all I'm asking, is $1. If you can find it in your heart to do that, that would be great. I got some upcoming cataract surgery. I know it's going to be pricey, and I think this will help offset some of that. I don't have vision insurance. I mean, there are people that are trying to give other folks, free health insurance, and here I am. I pay several $100s per month. I'm retired. I have Blue Cross and Blue Shield, but I don't have vision. I don't have dental. So, and I believe it's going to be pricey. Just the preoperative stuff was pretty pricey. And I have that ongoing lung cancer issue. So there are some medical things that are involved. And this is the first time that I have openly asked on a YouTube video. And I was reluctant to do it, and I thought $1 isn't too much to ask for an original recipe. If you own a pizza shop out there like I did, owning a pizza shop, and I happen to have a relative in New York, Big Polly's, this would be a good recipe, Polly, Jesse Ray, for those that want gluten-free. And what I've done here is I made one this afternoon, and I'm going to share what it looks like right now. So here it is right here. This is the size of the crust. Right there. You can see the size of the crust. This is what it looks like. Now this one is anchovies, Genoa salami, onion, and olive. And that's how I love my pizza. I mean, I wish I would have had some gluten-free hot sausage, but I have to be very careful because I'm allergic to MSG severely. And MSG is listed as a flavoring in the hot sausage spices that they add. So everyone that I've asked, to use that spice thing, yes, they use the spice thing. So I'm very reluctant. And I did have a sausage maker, and I was going to buy some pork butts. They're usually like $1 a pound, and make my own hot sausage. But then I found out that I react to the cayenne pepper now, and I used to love cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper gives me instant heartburn now. So the hot sausage, I'm sorry to say, may just be a thing of the past, unfortunately. But look at this beautiful pie here. Isn't he gorgeous? Try to stick him under the light there. See how the crust is nice and done? Look at him. He's dense too. He's heavy. I mean, it's several pounds of pizza there. So that's what it looks like coming out of the oven. And let's see where we're at. We've got about 6 minutes on this there before I divulge the secret technique for making this. And one other thing I want to say and mention, Hunt's sauce is probably the lowest carb sauce that's out there that's gluten-free. And so I use this. But I've also made my own sauce. That's why I that's why I grow the things that I grow. And I make my own sauce. And I've made about 4 cases here. I gave one away to the local church along with some spaghetti because we were at a block party and they fed my wife and son lunch. I couldn't eat any of the things. They had hot dogs and popcorn and things like that. So as a thank you mechanism, I went up to the church where they were holding their block party, and I gave them a case of sauce and 5 2-pound boxes of spaghetti. And I told the minister, I told the youth pastor that since they had fed my family lunch, that it was only fitting that I bring up some sauce and spaghetti so that I could feed their church family dinner. So I was quite pleased about that. And we'll see what's going on here. All right, while that's still going in the oven, I have ordered a case of the anchovies, these Cento anchovies. You can order them from Walmart. It's like $45 a case, but it brings the cost down, you know, about $1 off a can. And I love anchovies, probably because they're salty, or I may crave the protein, I'm not sure. And I have some peppers here, which I'm going to add to this one. This is mixed peppers. These are those red Marconis. And I have some black olives. Now I know people, you know, are reluctant to buy things from the dollar store. The dollar store, the Dollar Tree, I believe is what it was, has cans of olives for $1. Anywhere else you go, they're $1.89, $2.19, that type of thing. So I get them there. And again, using lovely Sarah's term, make that dollar holler. So this is what you have to do. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'll take about 2, 4, 6, about 8 of these olives, stick them on the cutting board, which I have right here, and I'm going to slice them so that they're skinny and I can put them on the pizza, on the topping. And we'll do that while that's finished baking there, the first bake. So we'll just slice them thin, get about 5 slices out of each olive. Again, Big Polly, I'd pay attention to this video. There are folks out there that have a need for gluten-free. And when I had my pizza shop down there in Calorie, Pennsylvania, and I have pictures posted on Facebook, we serviced some celiac people in Evans City, Pennsylvania, that you know, wanted gluten-free. And also, while I'm over here slicing, I like meat on my pizza, so I'm going to take some Giant Eagle brand Genoa salami here, and I'm going to take 2 pieces. And what I've done is I've requested that they cut that at 2.5 on the slicer rather than that super thin, because it's just, it tastes different and it tastes better. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Nakiri knife, and I'm just going to slice these down thinly. I'm going to leave them in strips. And there we go with that. That's at the local Gibsonia Giant Eagle. And my crust is smelling good. We're going to use some mozzarella and some Italian style cheese. When we go on there, it's going to go on there. I'm going to take a look at the crust right now. It's been 10 minutes. And what you want to do is you want to lift the bottom layer just to see how he is. All right, he's good. So now the top has partially cooked. The bottom has partially cooked. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my spatula, hope you can see this, my spatula, and I'm going to run them around the edge here just to make sure when I flip him using the other pizza pan that he doesn't break apart or stick or any of that. It should have been okay. I just did one of these up here this afternoon. But you gotta watch, because sometimes they'll stick on you. Alright, that looks pretty decent there. Let me go all the way into the center and just see. Okay. Now we're going to take our other pizza pan, put them right on the top, and we're going to flip him over. Give him a little tap there. And we're going to take him off. There we go. A little bit of sticking, so you got to be careful. You got to give that make sure that's a good grease. And now we have, this was the bottom. So he's got a little bit of a crust on him. We want to take our sauce. We want to put our sauce on him. I'll give it a good stir. It's a little thin for my liking. I like a nice thick sauce.